the strong name. Our time stands is 8:30. We're going to switch over to Studio B and say good morning to you, Brother Michael Jenkins, and listen to your program, none other than Brother Ernell Leggett over on Mullins. Good morning to you.
Good morning. And good morning, Ernell, and good morning to everyone out there that's tuning in today. PD Sportswrap. Father's Day weekend. Want to wish all the fathers out there a happy Father's Day. Want to wish myself a happy Father's Day. Father's Day is important. You know, Father's Day is a celebration of dads who have, for the most part, tried to do the right thing. Take care of the children, you know, be a guidance to them in life, you know, be strong when they need them. There are many things that makes up a good father. And being there is very important too. That's probably the most important one. A lot of fathers are missing in action. And the kids suffer, and the greater society suffers when there's not direction for these kids by male figures. Anyway, happy Father's Day to you. And I got a lot I want to talk about today. I'm all over the place with stuff. I'm looking at my pad here. I'm not going to be able to talk about all this stuff, but I just want to touch on some points and maybe be able to provide you with some form of sports information, I suppose. Now, I was looking at this new rule, this one-time rule by the state of South Carolina as far as sports goes and as far as transferring goes, because transferring has been, you know, a big thing with kids moving around quite a bit. So I guess the high school league decided that they wanted to kind of reel this thing in and see if they could add some order to it. So it says here the South Carolina has implemented a one-time penalty-free transfer rule for high school athletes, effective for the 2025-2026 school year. This means student athletes can transfer to another school once during their high school career without facing immediate ineligibility, provided the transfer occurs before the start of practice for that sport. And here's some key details. It says, one-time penalty-free transfer. Athletes can transfer to a new school once without penalty as long as the transfer is completed before the start of the practice for the sport they wish to play. Impact on seniors. For 2025 school year, seniors can also utilize this one-time transfer according to the state newspaper. However, starting in 2026-2027 school year, seniors who transfer will be ineligible for 22 calendar days or 1/3 of the maximum number of games, whichever is less. Transfers after practice starts. Students transferring after the start of practice will face a 30-day period of ineligibility or must sit out half of the games in that sport, whichever is less. Multiple transfers. Students who transfer more than once will be ineligible for 30 days or half of the total number of games, whichever is less, and may also be ruled ineligible for the postseason. Exceptions. The rule includes exceptions for situations like homelessness, DSS placement, verified bullying, and military transfers. The new rule is in effect for the 2025-26 school year and onward. Implementation. The rule was approved by the South Carolina Athletic Directors and is overseen by the South Carolina High School League. So, there you have it. transfer rules. They're given more flexibility now. And I hope that this, helps the situation, alleviates some problems that may have occurred with all the kids bouncing around and whatnot. But we'll have to wait and see about that. I was looking at the open season, closed season scenario where the high school league legislates practice times, off-season practice times, and practice scheduling in general. 2024-25 open season, closed season practice schedule. Fall sports. March 1st through the 31st, 2025, and May 1st through the 31st, 2025. So if you're in the fall sports, that's their open season. Winter sports, September 1 through 30, 2024, and April 1 through 30, 2025. It says here, all sports have from June 1st through their July closed season for practice, except, for the July dead week. Fall sports will enter a closed season July 22nd through the 24th, and July 31st through August 1st. Winter and spring sports will be closed beginning August 2nd. 10 days of competition are permitted June 1 through July 27th. Last day to compete is July 28th. Now, they're saying there's some 2024s in there, so there could be some little glitches here along the way in terms of this information may have been disseminated before, but here I am reading it now, and those dates remain constant. Whatever that means. No school will be permitted to attend or participate in team camps between July 29th and in season. There's another point I want to get from this. Let's see. So right now, you have the local basketball team, the local high school teams here they are right now having their summer training deal going on. Now, I know for a fact that in Marion, I got something from them. And I don't know if Mullins is at these same places, these camps. But back on the 28th of May, I forwarded this to myself from Marion's basketball. And it says, we're officially, that was 4 days away from kicking off our June summer program on Sunday, June 1st, open to all rising 7th and 12th graders. Must-haves: updated physical, completed after April 1st, 2025. Athletic gear. Now, they weren't specific with that, but you got basketball, you got sneakers, you got shorts, whatever. Athletic gear, water source. So I guess you got to bring your own water. They don't want to make sure they don't have to keep you hydrated. They want you to keep yourself hydrated. I think they should have water there. Anyway, work ethic, very important, and that's in capital letters here. All information are on the flyers. We will see you, and that was that Sunday, 3:30 p.m. Now, looking at this more here. Okay. So it says this was on the 7th. they were at something called the Camden Play Day in Camden, South Carolina. That was back on the 5th. On the 7th, USC Team Camp. On the 11th, which was just a couple of days ago, Carvers Bay Summer League in Hemingway. I'd be interested to know if anyone went and how that turned out. Marion's going to have their struggles this year. From the 10th through the 12th, which was, again, in just a couple of days ago, FMU Team Camp. That was in Florence. Today, the 14th, they are at Coker Team Camp in Hartsville. And then they go from there to the 16th, which is like Monday, and they're at the Coastal Carolina Team Camp. And on the 17th, you have what they're calling the Swamp Fox Showdown. And that's probably going to be a series of teams and competitions going on at Marion High School, I'm assuming. And then from the 20th through the 21st, South Carolina High School League live event. And they're having, a big hoop fest up there, North Augusta. I want to say, I think they had this last year too, for girls and boys. So that's what Marion has got planned. And, these summer camps, if you will, and all this activity that goes on in the summer for basketball now has changed over the years. There was a time when, basketball coaches in the state didn't have a lot of power. And everything that happened was dictated by football coaches. Yeah. So if you had a football coach that loved basketball, you had a shot at getting some things done. If you didn't, if you had a football coach that only thought about his football team and, and that whole program, you might have been in a little bit of trouble. So, basketball coaches their power has grown over the last several years, where now they do have some say-so. They don't have to take a backseat to the whole football thing. Looking at locally here, Marion, this is the 14th of June. And where's my head right now? My head is thinking about, obviously, basketball, but football first, because football is next up. But football-wise, last year around here, it was only good in Mullins. It was not good in Marion. Marion has a longer way to go to get back to respectability, competitiveness right now. Mullins seems to be on the rise. I see excitement coming out of, from posts from Mullins folk all the time. I see the quarterback from Mullins, stepping front and center and becoming more known, Kanazian. I feel an overall excitement going on with Mullins football right now. And I think it's going to translate into them being much better this year. And they were good last year. But I expect they're going to be even much better this coming season than they had been last year. Basketball for Marion wasn't very good last year either. For Mullins, it was very good. Marion, again, has a long way to go to be competitive from last year to this year. Mullins, I'm not concerned at all with with them being competitive. They're going to be. They're a threat. So I expect that to continue. Let's see. I wanted to take a look at, and these preseason rankings don't mean a lot. and some of them mean even less depending on the source. But let's see. But still, I take a look at them, kind of just for a conversation piece. And there's some interesting things going on here. Let me see. Okay, let's take a look real quick at the one that is most near and dear to our hearts, which is 2A. 2A. Classes. Okay, so it doesn't want to give me 2A, so I'll go ahead and I'll just do 4A. Computer decides. Okay, in 4A, this is what it's looking like, or this is what the prognosticators are saying. Prognosticators for Max Prep. They're saying South Point is the top-ranked team in 4A preseason. They are followed by Westside. And Westside is followed up by South Florence High School. And we all know that South Florence has been very competitive the last several years. One state should have won another one. South Florence Bruins are still in the mix. North Augusta comes in at 4, followed by the very consistent Hartsville Red Foxes at 5. Gray Collegiate Academy is 6, followed by Wren. Camden Bulldogs 8. AC Flora 9. Daniel is the 10th ranked preseason team. They are followed by Hilton Head Island, Gilbert, Crestwood, Midland Valley, Bishop England, Lancaster, Seneca, Lower Richland. Wow, Lower Richland's in the top 20. That's pretty interesting. Greer, and coming back from the ashes, basically, Darlington. They're the 20th ranked preseason team. And then they are followed by Bluffton, Richland Northeast, whom I haven't heard from a long time in football. May River is 23, Emerald 24. Fountain Inn is the 25th ranked preseason team in the state. Milton Bell, good morning, a.k.a. Spanky. What's happening out there in the world? Well, it looks like I'm not going to be able to do this. Oh, boy. Everybody wants you to be a member of everything. It's ridiculous. How about just give me some information in? I don't want to be no member. So, I'm trying to get, there we go, 2A. 2A. And what are they predicting in 2A this year? Well, right now they're saying that Clinton is projected as the number one team. Excuse me. Number one team in Class 2A, and they are followed by a very familiar name, Fairfield Central. They're ranked 2nd. They are followed by Chester, Batesburg, Leesville, Central, then Sherrard, Barnwell, Saluda, Strom-Thurmond, Hampton County, Chesney. Timberland comes in at 12, followed by Philip Simmons, Manning, Kingstree, 96, Lake City, Andrew Jackson, still figuring into the overall mix of what's going to happen in 2A this year. They've been competitive for multiple years in a row. They are followed by Landrum, Liberty, Woodland, Mid Carolina, Andrews, East Clarendon, and Mullins. But no Marion. So apparently Marion has some work to do in order to get themselves to a point where they can, where they can compete. Last year was terrible. I'm sure nobody in Marion wants to see that again. So I don't know how their spring practice went. I don't really follow spring practice anymore like that. I don't really, when I think about practices, I'm not a big practice guy like I might have once used to be. When the basketball season started back in the day, that I usually made the rounds to all the different opening day practices, as many as I could. And that was fun. It's become less inviting now to go to some of these gyms for practice. They used to be, like when Mark Gerald was in Mullins, and to some extent now with Eric, the practices were open. I mean, you could walk in off the street, nobody cared. It's almost like Mark wanted some distractions there while he was practicing his kids, because it wasn't going to be all quiet and peaches and cream when they were at a game. So he looked at those things in a lot of ways that they were helping his team prepare for things that may or may not be going on during an actual basketball game. But speaking of basketball, speaking of NBA basketball, speaking of basketball in general, I haven't watched a lot of basketball this year in terms of NBA or college. In fact, I didn't watch any. I didn't watch not one regular season game all the way through the season until toward the end. And even then, it was just snippets of games that I'd seen. But when March Madness came along, I started watching basketball again. And I was very excited about it. So March Madness was fun. And now I moved on to the NBA playoff. And now I was looking forward and wanting to see that too. I was interested again in basketball. And I've been paying attention for the last several weeks or so. There have been some competitive series. The Knicks did well. Then they fired their coach. They got beat by a better Indiana team, who I think is a better team than OKC, but last night they kind of stumbled a little bit. They had a chance to go up 3-1 against Oklahoma City, and they faltered down the stretch, and the Thunder got them. Now the series is tied at 2 games apiece, going back to Oklahoma City for a Game 5. I would have been more confident in the Pacers' success here before last night. Last night kind of left a bitter taste in my mouth a little bit. I still think they're going to win the series, but it looks a lot tougher now than it did 24 hours ago. Now, we're look around the league, and there's a lot of activity going on. There's a lot of supposed trades and movement. Kevin Durant is in the crosshairs. He's a guy that's, is going to be moved somewhere. And let's talk about Kevin Durant for a minute. Now, you know that I've been saying on this show that Kevin Durant made the worst decision I feel any basketball player could make when he left the Warriors. He had it made. You had won 2 championships. You would have won 3 in a row if not for the injuries that year. But you decided, or it was decided, that you needed to be your own leader, to be your own boss, to be the big guy, the big fumage in the picture, so to speak. You need to lead your own team. So what'd you do? You left the Warriors, the best situation that you've ever had in your entire life, or will have, by the way. And you go and you team up with a bunch of clowns in New Jersey, James Harden and all these. These guys weren't serious, man. And what happened? Disaster. Okay, so now that doesn't work out. Now you start looking west. You want to go to Phoenix now. Phoenix trying to recruit you. You go out there with them. What happened? Disaster. That's why you're leaving Cleveland now. So where do you go now? Now they're talking about the San Antonio Spurs. They're talking about this one. And whatever team gets you is going to benefit because you're really good. One of the best ever. But your mistake was, as they say, you looked a gift horse in the mouth. You looked a gift horse in the mouth when you were with the Warriors and you left there. Okay? And things hadn't been right for you since. And they're not going to be right. I understand beef between you and Draymond Green. I get all that. But I'm thinking if you had told the Warriors, either Draymond is out of here or I'm out of here, they would have let Draymond go. I would have. Immediately. With groceries, he would have been gone. So, I think even right now, you would still be a great fit for the Warriors. And if it was decided that you were going to be pursued, and it was a Draymond or me thing, I'm shipping Draymond out so fast it'll make your head spin. He's gone. But I don't think you want to go back to where you came from because it'll be like you admitting that you were a total imbecile in deciding to leave the best situation you could ever have in your whole life for a basketball player. So, I don't know. But he'll be somewhere, probably in San Antonio, maybe in Minnesota. And then you have the Lakers trying to decide what they're going to do. I heard someone say the other day that the Lakers are going to have other plans for Bronny next year. Goodness. So this nightmare is going to continue then. This kid can't play at this level. And y'all know it. And his daddy knows it. But still, we are being force-fed this kid who shouldn't even be in the league. He really shouldn't even be in the league. And it's a travesty that he is. I mean, I understand, favoritism and all that and promoting your own kid and helping your own children along. I get all that. But this smells bad. And it doesn't look good either. I think that LeBron James should retire. And they're saying, I'm hearing whispers now that next year will be his last year. Hallelujah. I hope it is. I really do. I'm sick of his tired game. I'm sick of seeing him play. He doesn't excite me. I'm going to get off the LeBron James thing, which I'm doing right now. But retire and take your son with you. Anyway, the Yankees and the Red Sox, I'm just sick of that whole deal too. I'm sick of the Yankees playing the Red Sox because it seems like every time they play them, they're always losing to them. Sick of it. So, I only look at the Yankees and Red Sox scores now. I don't even watch the game. Yankees need to get it together. They need to win this year. That thing with the Dodgers last year, unforgivable. We are the Yankees. We're supposed to win World Series championships. We need to get back to doing that. Because right now, you guys are still shaky to me, even though you lead your division. I don't trust you. Anyway, that's all that I have for right now, folks. Thank you for joining me today. Kelvin Williams, good morning. And I won't be here next week. But enjoyed being with you today. Have a great week. Happy Father's Day. Later.